I want that Sarah and Metcalf family to sue me. I dare them, please. Cause soon as them white lawyers call, I'm flipping like pancakes in grandma's kitchen.
You're sitting in the courtroom, the weight of what's unfolding almost too heavy to process. The prosecution isn't just laying out a timeline anymore. They're building a narrative, brick by brick. And today, that narrative just took its darkest turn yet. A state investigator takes the stand holding a thick file. It's the contents of that file that make the gallery fall completely silent. These aren't just phone records or financial transfers. They're text messages, the final digital exchanges between Karmelo Anthony and his parents, just minutes after the fatal stabbing of Austin Metcalf. The prosecutor clears their throat and reads the first message aloud. It's from Karmelo's mother. "Get rid of it, we'll figure out the rest later." A gasp echoes through the room. It's not just what she said, it's when she said it. The timestamp is 12 minutes after the incident. Police weren't even on the scene yet. The implication is chilling. This was a premeditated cover-up, carried out not days or hours later, but immediately, as if they'd rehearsed it before. You glance around. Some in the audience look angry, others just stunned. And now, a new question enters the public consciousness. If these were the first things they texted, what kind of truth have they been hiding this entire time? You can hear the soft whir of the courtroom's ventilation, but all eyes are locked on the projection screen at the front. The prosecutor clicks a remote, and the first message appears. It's time-stamped, chilling in its clarity. "Don't forget gloves, no prints." The words flash in white on a black background, but the silence they leave behind feels deafening. You glance across the courtroom and catch Karmelo's expression. He doesn't blink, doesn't shift, just clenches his jaw as the texts keep coming. He's always at that gas station after work. That's our window. A murmur rises from the gallery. Even the judge adjusts in his seat, visibly unsettled. The camera zooms in on Mrs. Anthony. She grips the edge of the table, knuckles white. Her attorney leans in, whispering something, but she doesn't respond. Her eyes are glued to the screen, like she's reading those words for the first time, too. On the other side of the room, Austin Metcalf's parents exchange glances, one shaking their head in disbelief. Then the final slide appears. It's a short message, simple. "This ends tonight." Gasps ripple through the room. The text was sent at 6:42 p.m., the exact hour Austin was killed. The prosecutor turns toward the jury. "Ladies and gentlemen, this wasn't spontaneous. This wasn't confusion. It was planned, word for word, step by step." And now, people are asking, if these messages existed all along, how were the parents allowed to walk free for so long? Would you have trusted them if this came out after the trial? The defense tries to regain control, but the damage is done. You watch as they scramble to explain the context of the texts. They were scared, the lawyer argues. They were trying to protect their son, but the jury isn't making eye contact anymore. Some stare at the floor. Others just look straight ahead, stone-faced. The room feels colder now, like the truth sucked the air right out of it. Then the prosecution delivers another blow, a voice recording. You can barely hear it at first. Static, low hums, but then a woman's voice crackles through. It's unmistakably Mrs. Anthony. "We can't let him mess up again," she says. "Not like last time." The jury shifts in their seats. One woman covers her mouth. The courtroom camera catches Karmelo closing his eyes. His shoulders stiffen. You don't know if he's angry, embarrassed, or trying not to break down. The court-appointed therapist, seated in the corner, starts taking notes furiously. The judge gives a warning. Any further emotional outbursts will result in removal, but no one moves. Everyone's too locked in. Reporters in the back row type like their keyboards are on fire. Social media is already exploding with reactions. Hashtags like #premeditated and #Anthony trial trending by the minute. And when the prosecution rests their point, they leave the screen frozen on one final image. A blurry photo of the crime scene, zoomed in on Austin Metcalf's car, blood visible on the window. It's not just a murder case anymore. It's a betrayal that spans family lines, courtroom walls, and digital footprints. Now people are asking, if Karmelo knew what was happening all along, why didn't he come forward sooner? And would you speak out if your own parents were hiding something like this? You hear it before you see it. Tears hitting paper, the shuffle of a tissue box passed between hands. In the front row, Austin Metcalf's sister clutches a letter. Her fingers tremble as she unfolds it, eyes swollen from crying. "This was sent to me 2 nights before," she says, barely above a whisper. The courtroom doesn't breathe. The judge leans forward. The defense stays quiet. She begins reading. Words from Karmelo's mother, allegedly written just before the incident. "We did what we had to do. No one will understand, but he was always a threat to you." Gasps cut through the silence like shattered glass. The bailiff's hand inches toward his radio. The prosecutor stands, voice steady but urgent. This isn't just emotional context. This is admission. This is intent. The Metcalf family breaks down, mother shaking her head as if trying to erase the moment. Karmelo, seated behind his legal team, stares straight ahead, jaw clenched but unreadable. You can feel the power shift in the room. It's no longer about doubt, it's about damage control. One of the Anthony family's lawyers starts whispering frantically, tapping his tablet, possibly flagging objections or preparing counter-arguments. But the energy has already changed. The words, "he was always a threat to you," echo like a thunderclap. The jury looks disturbed. One juror glances at the ceiling, perhaps holding back tears or fury. Another stares at the letter, visibly shaking his head. It's no longer just a trial, it's a reckoning. And now people are wondering, if this letter truly confirms what prosecutors allege, premeditation, what kind of sentence is even enough for a crime like this? You watch the courtroom fall into a hush as a forensic analyst steps up, holding a printed copy of the final text thread sent between the Anthonys. The printout is stapled, over 20 pages long, and yet, the prosecutor tells the jury, it's what's missing between the lines that matters most. The lights dim. A projection screen lowers behind the witness box, and the final 30 minutes before the murder are laid bare. You hear the courtroom collectively tense as one of the last texts is read aloud. "Everything's in place, just keep him talking." The Metcalf family doesn't even flinch. They've heard this in pretrial, but the public hasn't. One spectator gasps. A woman from the gallery whispers, "That sounds like a setup." The prosecutor lets the silence hang for a moment, letting the message burrow into the jury's mind. Then comes a different voice, Karmelo's. In the next exchange, you hear his frantic reply from that night. "Mom, what do I do? He's bleeding. He's not moving." That's when the analyst explains the timeline. The parents were texting each other, not just their son. The exchange overlaps with Jeep's data that places them a few blocks from the scene. "They weren't at home," the analyst says. "They were circling. A shiver runs down your spine." It's not just what they said, it's the coordination, the patterns, the eerie calm in their words while chaos erupted on the ground. On screen, a map lights up, tracing their car's movements in sync with the text pings. And now people are asking, if the Anthonys were nearby the whole time, were they just watching? Or were they waiting for a specific moment? Would you call this parenting or premeditation? You hear a collective inhale ripple through the courtroom as the prosecutor cues up the video. A dim projector casts the grainy footage onto the wall. It's not surveillance, it's not news, it's Karmelo himself, pacing back and forth in what looks like a family kitchen, voice raised, fists clenched. And then another voice interrupts. It's his mother. "Stop," she says, calm but firm. Then his father's voice, low and sharp. "We already decided." The footage is time-stamped just hours before the crime. Some people in the room gasp when they realize what's being shown. The context becomes impossible to ignore. This isn't just another family disagreement. This is intent forming in real time. You see tension, fear, and, most damning, calm, quiet planning. The kind that prosecutors dream of. Karmelo doesn't look at the screen. His hands are folded tightly in his lap, eyes locked on the floor. His lawyer places a hand on his shoulder, but he doesn't flinch. You glance around and see jurors shifting in their seats. Some avoid eye contact with the screen altogether. Others watch with narrowed eyes. In the far back, one of the Metcalf cousins silently shakes their head, mouthing something to no one in particular. That's them. That's who they are. And now the entire room is asking the same thing. If this is what they were willing to say out loud, what didn't they record? Would you believe it was a mistake? After watching this, like a bruise that hasn't started to swell yet, you watch as the prosecution calmly thanks the judge and takes their seat. The defense team, though, they look rattled. One attorney whispers to the other, flipping through notes like they might find a way out buried somewhere on paper. Karmelo's parents sit motionless, but not emotionless. His mother's eyes dart toward the jury box, then down. His father? Still, no blinking, no shifting, almost like he knows what comes next. The judge gives the room a moment to settle before announcing a brief recess. As the gavel hits, half the gallery remains frozen in place. Reporters shuffle out, whispering into phones. The Metcalf family quietly exits through the side doors, one hand over another, like they're physically holding themselves together. Outside, the courthouse steps are chaos. Protesters chant on one side, calling for accountability. On the other, silent supporters of the Anthonys hold signs that say, "Family first," and "This isn't over." And standing in the middle, caught between both sides, is Karmelo, hood on, head down, alone. The courtroom has seen testimony, it's seen strategy, but now it's seen the truth, raw and undeniable. The kind of truth that doesn't just sway juries, it changes lives. And now, as the final arguments approach, everyone's wondering, if the courtroom saw the plan before it happened, how could the family ever claim this wasn't premeditated? Would you accept any apology after seeing that tape?